Welcome to the Skilled Profits Podcast, the official podcast of the Skilled Profits community, where entrepreneurs come to get all they want out of business and life. And here is your host, speaker, and best-selling author, Justin Burns.
Hey, Skilled Profits community. What is happening? Justin Burns here on this special podcast. It's just me, myself, and I today. We're going to be talking about something that I'm really excited to talk about because I think that you can really extract gold from what I'm going to really teach you today. This is going to be called the 3 business lessons learned from watching Ghosts from Power. Now, if you don't know the show Power, I highly recommend you check it out. It's one of my favorite shows. I don't agree with all the sentiments in it, obviously, because it's really a show that's really based around drug dealing and different things like this, but it's a very, very interesting show. Now, I quite honestly don't watch a lot of TV, but I love the show Power. It's not, the focus is not on, just drug dealing and different things like that. It has so much, and if you're a fan of Power, you're going to get a lot out of this because it's really going to show you some of the things that you probably haven't seen within the show. Now, one of the most important characters on the show of Power is a guy by the name of Ghost. He goes by Ghost. That's his street name. And his real name is James St. Patrick. But if you've never seen the show, he's a drug dealer, okay, who's really not your average drug dealer, right? He dresses like what I like to say, like a boss, right? He speaks very articulate. He dresses in suits. I mean, that's why the show is so interesting, because you would just really never expect that this guy is he runs a really big drug organization. Now, he really is in the shadows. A lot of people don't know who he is. In the daytime, he dresses really nice. Honestly, I hadn't seen this show for about 2 seasons, and it's kind of like one of those binge shows that you watch it, you're hooked, and you immediately want to keep watching it over and over and over again. And one of my friends actually told me about it. I watched it and I loved it. But I want to talk to you about the 3 biggest lessons that I learned from Ghost, okay, or James St. Patrick, the guy on the show. Again, if you're a fan of Power, you're going to know exactly what I'm talking about. If you're not, I recommend that you watch the show. There's a lot of lessons in the show, and it's a really power-packed show. Again, I don't agree with all the sentiments of the drug dealing, different things like that, but it's a very, very interesting show, and it just keeps your attention. It's a lot of action in it. It's just a really amazing show. But let's get right into the 3 lessons that I've learned. So lesson number 1 is all about staying confident even when you make bad decisions. In the series, Ghost, he makes some really great decisions, but he also makes some really bad ones as well. But the one thing I respect about Ghost or James, however you go about whatever you call him, is that you'll never see him down. You'll never see him really feeling bad or depressed. And there's something wrong with going through those emotions. But one of the things that really taught me is you got to stay confident in the decisions that you make. Ghost really is all about playing chess and not really checkers, okay? That's really what he's about, and it's so motivating, and it's so inspiring to see, because you got to motivate yourself when you make those bad decisions. And that's one of the things that I respect about Ghost so much, is that he'll make a bad decision, but he'll find a way to correct it. Or you'll see that bad decision never, affects his confidence. You'll never see that affect his confidence at all. He always moves in a way that's confident. And it's something that I've noticed, and it's something I applied to my business. Now, how can you take that lesson from Ghost from Power and apply it to your business or apply it to life? And it's really that you're going to make bad decisions. You're going to get to the point where some decisions are, they're just not going to pan out. And you have to have that ability to really go into strategic thinking mode, where you think your way out of that bad decision or whatever repercussions comes around that. You are kind of in the mode of thinking how you can get out of it and strategically set up your chessboard so that you become a winner. In opposed to kind of being reactive and, letting those bad decisions affect, how you kind of operate, or not to really allow you to gain the perspective that making bad decisions comes with. It could come with a lot of gold and come with a lot of learning and a lot of things. So number 2 is really all around, don't let emotions drive you to do something stupid. Okay. Don't let emotions drive you to do something stupid. Now on the show, what you'll never see Ghost do is act irrational. Okay. You'll never see him act irrational. He always keeps his cool. He's a really cool, laid back type of dude. I mean, that's the thing about him. In fact, he's actually one of the most, emotionally intelligent people that I've seen. Now, I'm learning to adopt this still in business and in life. And it's nothing wrong with being emotional, with expressing who you are. It's nothing wrong with that. But a lot of times we allow emotions to drive us when things are kind of messed up. We allow emotions to push us to the point where we start to make even more bad decisions, right? So one of the things that I learned from Ghost from the show Power is that you have to really have this sense of emotional intelligence. It's so important in business and in life to have this key thing, like I said, what we call emotional intelligence, because it will drive you to really make some great decisions, and it will drive you to keep being motivated. And then finally, number 3 is become relentless when you want something. There was an episode in Power that I love. I've watched it over 3 times. There's so much gold in it. I'll give you the episode if you guys want to. Just comment and let me know if you guys want which episode this was. But if you're, like I said, if you're a Power fan, you'll know exactly what episode I'm talking about. But there was an episode when Ghost, he owned a nightclub, and one of his bigger competitors, I forgot the guy's name, but he wanted to buy him out. Okay, so Ghost really didn't want to sell his nightclub to this guy. But what happened is the guy kind of outsmarted him a little bit. And what he did was instead of, Ghost didn't want to sell the nightclub. So the competitor bought the actual building that the nightclub was in. Okay. And so, he became the landlord. And what he did was he actually pushed, the nightclub, made basically Ghost work for him, which, Ghost is not, he's an entrepreneur. He wants to own his business. But here's the thing. And this is how all 3 of these principles kind of align with each other. Ghost was kind of stressed out about it a little bit, but he didn't really get super bent out of shape. He didn't go, he didn't really, go into this whole woe is me type of attitude, or he didn't go down that route. What he started to do was be strategic, and, he started to become relentless. So he did some research, and what he found was a loophole, right? And there's loopholes in everything that goes on in life and in business. But what he found out was that this business owner was in the middle of a divorce, his competitor. He was in the middle of a divorce. And what he did was he went out and he talked to the guy's, soon-to-be ex-wife. And, they found some ammo against this bigger competitor. And all Ghost wanted was these different nightclubs. That's all he wanted. He wanted his nightclub back. So, he got his nightclub back. He used this ammo. He put the competitor out of business because, again, there was this loophole of him being about to be divorced. And he got his club back, right? Now, what can you learn from this? The big thing in having it all in business and in life is never giving up and being relentless. I see so many times as business owners, there's so much stress stacked against us. There's so many things that can happen in life, both personally and business wise. But one of the things is there's always a solution, or a loophole, as we like to call it, to getting out of the situation. There's always a loophole to gaining perspective to the point where you can completely wipe away whatever it is that that's going on. Again, this guy lost his club. He could have been like, whatever, I'll move on to something else, but he didn't. He didn't stop being relentless. He kept going back. He kept finding different things. He kept being strategic. That's what you have to do when, the business world throws you curveballs, or something happens in your business or life, whatever it is. You have to never stop wanting to kick ass. Okay. You got to constantly be relentless and strategically always activate those critical thinking skills that will allow you to come out of that. Okay, so just to kind of recap, okay, the 3 lessons that I learned from watching Ghost from Power is, number 1, you got to stay confident. Okay, even if you make bad decisions, don't let those decisions make you. Okay, just find ways to turn those decisions around so they work out for your the betterment of you. Right. Number 2 is don't let emotions drive you to do something really stupid, right? Emotions sometimes they're funny things, right? Sometimes it's okay to feel those emotions, but sometimes don't let it, drive you into self-sabotage or drive you to do things. Really keep your cool. This is what Ghost from Power really did, and it motivated me. Number 3 is become relentless to get what you want. Like, if something keeps happening in business and you keep failing again and again and again, it doesn't matter, right? Find ways to make it work. And I'm telling you that you're going to get more in return. The one thing that Ghost got out of this was that he had one nightclub, but because he kept being relentless, out of the divorce settlement deal, he got all the nightclubs. I think it was like 3 or 4. So that's one of the things that you have to just get and you want to gain, is this ability to become, again, relentless and to continuously keep growing. That's one of the things that you definitely want to do. So I hope you guys got a lot out of this, what we call podcast short. This is not me interviewing anybody. This is just me wanting to really add value to your life and business, where, again, in Skilled Profits community, we teach you how to have it all in business and in life. So make sure that you subscribe to this podcast if you haven't already. We're going to be offering some amazing things in the future, some amazing shows that I have planned out for you guys that are coming up. Make sure you comment below, and I'll see you on the next episode of Skilled Profits.